Where do you want to start? What have the horses taught me about myself? How to be a better parent, to be more present. They've taught me to work through my own shit. When stuff comes up, I can work through things quite quickly now. A good work ethic. Doesn't matter what the weather's doing, it doesn't matter whether it's a Sunday. Resilience, you know, you don't give up, you fall off a horse, you get back up, you get back on. And currently they're teaching me how to accept myself fully and wholly for who I am. Like, don't hide away. Don't be like in the shadows. I'm not good enough, I don't know enough, I don't have enough. Just own who I am, where I am, accepting fully, and they don't care. Like, you come into here to work with a horse, they don't give a shit if you've got £3 million in the bank or 20p. Like, there's not, you know, horses, they care about what's in here. If all humans walking around with the same attitude, it means nothing to me if you're the CEO or you're the receptionist. Like, I care about what's in here, how we connect, who you are, what you care about in life, you know. If we all walked around like that, the world would be a much better place, right? I've had people say things like, it's changed my life. I've had people say, it saved me. Like, not just one, but quite a few. It's really hard trying to explain to somebody what the work is. Like, you have to feel it, and you have to experience it. And if you're open and you're willing to go there, then it will change your life. She's sweet, isn't she? Yeah. I just love her energy. It's kind of like playful, but sweet, and yeah.
He's my beautiful boy. Yes. He's so handsome. Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
So, what are your challenges? Hello. And your positives?
My positive is kind of the opposite side of this is freedom.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
And the
abundance. Yeah, abundance, nice. Yeah. Okay. So, which of the 4 obstacles would you like to represent not knowing? So I don't call it equine therapy, but a lot of people refer to it as equine therapy. It's really hard to give it a name. So when I trained, they called it equine assisted learning. Equine guided interactions is another phrase that people use for it. I've been doing the work now since kind of early 2019. I'm holding the space for the horse and the client so that they can work together to heal. Some people come with quite a clear idea in their mind of what it is that they want to heal. Other people come out of curiosity, might not be fully prepared for kind of the depth of the work with the horses. It goes quite deep, it goes to the core of the person. It's like doing shadow work. So horses reveal what's hiding inside that you need to look at and deal with. I'm kind of like the interpreter between what's happening, between the horse and the client and the space in between them. And then I'll feed back my observations and we work together and we work out quite quickly actually the person's main blocks or biggest shadows. I mean, to be fair, most people that come won't know what shadow work is, especially if you're stepping into self-development for the first time. And you don't necessarily jump straight into that. It's a build-up of a relationship between the client and the horse to then start connecting to reveal. So I suppose if you didn't know what shadow work was, you could think about it as challenges, internal challenges in someone's internal landscape, you know, and that might be from childhood issues, schooling, I don't know, messages that they've been given growing up, or that they're not good enough or they're not worthy. You know, they might have grown up in a scarcity type upbringing, and then they don't feel like they're worthy to go out and kind of claim what they want in life. You know, all those sorts of things. With the shamanic work, when you look at shadow work, it's about bringing them out and up and out and into the light, and then they don't own you anymore. So the horses are an ally for the client when they're doing that work, to like support them, make them feel able to kind of look at some of that more challenging stuff, because they feel like they've got that support of a beautiful horse with them. So I think because horses are, you know, they're prey animals, so they read energy. They'll sense when people have blocks. They'll also kind of almost role play out for people what's going on in their lives. Yeah, it's my job to try and interpret what the horse is saying into a way that the client can understand and use it for their own development. And we're working outside as well, so like the elements like to get involved. I think the energy the horses bring into the space actually varies from session to session and client to client and horse to horse, right? They're like us. You know, they've all got their own personalities and likes and dislikes, and they respond to what a client's bringing into the space. If a client comes in and their energy is like really jangly and like they're not regulated, the horse will respond accordingly, and it might walk away from them. It might say, I'm not having anything to do with this. And then slowly but surely, as the client gets more comfortable in the space and they regulate their nervous system and breathe, they're breathing away, that you'll see the energy shift. And clients get to experience that for themselves, because, you know, I had one client at the beginning of her program. She was terrified of horses and she didn't want to go, she wanted to stay on this side of the fence and not be like right in there with the horse. And if they would snort, she'd be like, ah! And then by the end of her program, she's leading a horse around this obstacle course, literally like, I can't believe I'm doing this, this is amazing. So they have this journey with their own energy that like changes and transforms throughout the time working with horses. So there's no one set energy, but a big horse has got that kind of powerful. Then the small horse, quite, you know, well, with my horses, very, like the little ones, very nurturing. My two little ones are girls. They've got that kind of nurturing, divine feminine energy about them. Boys, quite big and strong, but actually they're very gentle as well. So yeah, it's ever-evolving energy, which it is in nature anyway, right? The energy changes throughout the day as the sun comes up to the midday, to as the sun sets, and then a cloud comes and then the wind picks up, and energy moves and shifts all the time. You know, we weren't wealthy when I was a child growing up, and so we couldn't afford for me to have my own pony or anything like that. So I used to go and help at my local riding school, mucking out and doing all the horse chores in the hope for the odd free ride. Moved away to London, kept horses in my life, rode one underneath the MI5 building in the middle of London. Came back to Guernsey, became a mother, was a full-time mother for quite a long time. Then went back to work for a while, but wanted to do something, have more meaning, more soul for me. I was chatting to a friend who's a GP, and he was talking about like patients that keep presenting, they're not well, like they keep coming back to the doctor all the time. And he would say, what's the thing that when you were 9 made you happiest? Because when you're 9, the ego hasn't yet landed. So you're doing what you love, like what your soul loves. There's, you know, the mind hasn't gotten into action. And immediately I was like, horses. And so I was like, I need to get horses back into my life. And got introduced to a lady and met Archie. And I want to say the rest is history, because it was an instant connection with Archie and I, and he's been like the catalyst for this whole journey. And then it's been a case of kind of following my instincts and answering the call. So I did my training, been working with lots of people one-to-one, but the work's developed and grown. And then recently kind of being introduced into the shamanic work and figuring out how I can incorporate that into working with horses and clients, you know, and what richness it brings to the sessions. And it's definitely been like an evolving journey for me, because I got diagnosed a couple of years ago with an autoimmune condition. And that was a bit of a wake up, kind of like, I was working too much. I wasn't taking care of myself properly. I had to kind of step back and really like think about what I was doing. After that, I had to have my pony put to sleep. And that was like a massive awakening for me, because the whole thing felt very, very spiritual when that happened. It wasn't just like this meat bag leaving, it was like a soul leaving. But I still felt so connected to her soul after she'd gone. She was here and she still is here. So the horses have like just guided. I feel like she's one of my guides, and they kind of push, I feel like they keep pushing me. Learn more, do more, offer more. And the horses have almost been kind of waiting, I think, for this energy work to start to happen, because that's how they live. They live off of energy. And it's just, yeah, it's a really beautiful way to work with the horses, so. Yeah. Horses have huge hearts, massive hearts. And the resonance field of a horse's heart spans out 10 times larger than the resonance field of a human's heart. And because theirs is so much stronger and it beats more slowly, it then brings down your own heart rate variable. When you're in a coherent state, your heart rate and your brain waves and everything is all coherent, then you feel aligned, calm, grounded, and you're able to make good decisions. You see when someone's like really out of whack and like really stressed, there's a lot going on, the energy's all over the place, they can make bad decisions. Being able to practice being in a heart coherent state is then your system gets to know it, and the more your system gets to know it, the more easy it is for you to access that state, even if you're not with a horse. Right now, I'll be being affected, as will you, by the resonance field of their heart. Ours spans about 10 feet out in front of us, and theirs is 10 times bigger than that. Native Americans have a beautiful relationship with horses. They honour them. They believe that horses have 1 foot in each dimension, and so they'll decorate their horse. Like if they were going into battle, they would, you know, decorate the horse with the 3 lines for challenges overcome and a circle around the eye for clear vision. And they believe that by painting the symbols onto the horse could help to bring that into their 3D reality. In America, you get the wild mustangs, some of the early work of the equine therapy. They would bring down the wild mustangs, and these are like totally wild stallion horses that bring them down. And then they get them working with convicts. The convict would like have to sort of build this relationship with this powerful, big, scary, like untamable, wild animal. And by regulating themselves and working with the horse and building a relationship, building trust, and then seeing through this like big, scary energy to the heart and the soul underneath. It's a little bit like a mirror. They're being held a mirror. And that you say in the work, you'll tend to gravitate towards 2 horses, and one is often like the mirror, the one that's holding up a mirror to you, to yourself, and then one is your medicine. There's something really powerful about the horse being able to mirror back to you what you've got going on in here. When you tell people some of the stuff, they're like, really? I mean, was working with a client, and it wasn't a particularly hot day, but there's a bucket of water in, you know, for the horse to have a drink if it wanted. So the horse went and had a drink, and okay, fine, we carry on working. Horse goes and has another drink, and I'm like, looked at the client, I was like, have you noticed what's going on? What's happening? What is it about this? And they sort of looked and said, oh, I didn't really want to say, but like I've started drinking again, and yeah, it just opened up that whole conversation. And then another client I was working with, it was their first session coming in, and as we start talking, the horse walked away, lay down in the middle of the sand school, completely flat out, looked like he was dead, and was going, oh, like this. And the client's just kind of looking at this horse lying down and then getting emotional, and he was mimicking a story for the client. And as we started talking about it and processing it all, horse gets up, has a shake, goes off and starts eating his hay net again. He was completely fine. He was showing. And that's mad, right? You do a session and the horse will show something up, bring it into your awareness, bring it into the light, and then you go off and you work with that. And you take that into your own life and you start to change your life. And that's really empowering, because I'm not standing there going, right, Ewan, in order for you to feel better, you need to do this, 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 and this, and come back and see me next week, and we'll talk about, after you've done this, this, and this, and this, how do you feel? It's not that. It's like, let's show you what's going on and empower you to then go and take that and use that to change life. Because everybody is their own teacher, really, and it's the horses are helping to just show you like what you need to work on. And then it's up to you to go and do that. Who do you want to be in 10,000 years? Well, why not now? Why not now?